We have another Bruce Brown trade update as reports have come out that Masai Ujiri has had some discussions with the LA Lakers in regards to a deal regarding Bruce Brown. They have some interesting assets over there in LA, so we'll discuss those trade possibilities as well as a pretty wild Team Canada update as they just cut an NBA guy that's pretty known around, a former Toronto Raptor, made some interesting decisions. So we'll dive into all of that in this video, but folks, again, if you want to stay up to date with everything happening with this Toronto Raptors team over the course of all season, as well as Team Canada, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. If you're part of the 49% that haven't hit it just yet, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. But let's dive into the news. Let's dive into what's going on. Basically, we have a Bruce Brown Lakers trade update. Now, leading into this trade deadline, the LA Lakers were a team that were consistently brought up as a trade destination for Bruce Brown. The interest was certainly real, but obviously a deal couldn't get done. They made the Lakers were pretty quiet around the trade deadline, but basically this team heading into the offseason, especially with all the moves that are happening around the league, the Lakers have been pretty active in different types of trade talks after missing out on Klay Thompson as well as DeMar DeRozan, I imagine. Apparently, LeBron James is willing to take a pay cut for a couple of those star-level players, but they didn't get them in free agency. LeBron re-signed his big contract, and now all eyes are on the LA Lakers in the trade market. News has essentially come out that they've been linked to a few guys, including Bruce Brown. So the Lakers say that they have had trade talks with the Portland Trailblazers about Jeremy Grant, with Brooklyn about Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith, with Toronto about Bruce Brown, and with the Washington Wizards about Kyle Kuzma, as well as other teams and other trade targets. To this point, though, those names are on the list are most closely linked to the LA Lakers. So this is interesting because looking at that list, there's a group of guys out there that probably are going to command more than Bruce Brown out there on the trade market, right? Especially Kyle Kuzma. Apparently, the asking price for him from the Washington Wizards is multiple first-round picks. Dorian Finney-Smith is a guy that was a centerpiece in a Kyrie Irving trade. I'm not sure what his value is at this point. Same with Cam Johnson, especially with the Nets are tanking. Those are the two players I think will be most interesting on the other end. But the Lakers are going to have to give up some serious assets if they want to bring in a Jeremy Grant. But the Blazers have been making some crazy moves as of late, so I wouldn't be shocked if they give him up for pennies. But Bruce Brown is still a guy that's valuable. 11 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, 3 assists essentially a game. Shoots close to 32% from behind the three-point line. Is still only 27 years old, and is a guy that was a complimentary piece on a championship team just a season ago. Bruce Brown is a good player. He'd be able to fit well with what the LA Lakers are doing, and frankly, just kind of makes sense as a fit in regards to the other options that are out there, for the LA Lakers in the market in terms of what the Lakers will probably want to give up, out there in terms of deals seeing without mortgaging their future. And the Lakers have some interesting pieces. They have a lot of their draft picks moving forward. They all got replenished essentially this year in terms of their available trade assets. So that's one thing to look at. We could get a future first-round pick from the LA Lakers, and they have some interesting guys on the roster. Obviously, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, we'd like them, but expensive, not coming to the Toronto Raptors. D'Angelo Russell, again, he picked up his player option for this year. Money would kind of work, but I don't think we're that interested in a point guard after giving Immanuel Quickley $35 million and then bringing in Davion Mitchell as well as Jamal Shed. Austin Reeves, you're not getting him for Bruce Brown, but the guys like Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura in terms of salary matchers could be an interesting fit, especially Rui Hachimura, especially if the Lakers are trying to get off of money, right? If they sent over a Rui Hachimura who has on a 2-year deal at this point and did struggle a little bit last year, maybe not during the regular season, but in the playoffs, certainly, 14 points per game, 4 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and shot 42% from the three-point line. He's 26 years old himself, so younger than Bruce Brown, right? Shoots 44% on corner threes. He had a really monster playoffs a couple seasons ago, but during the postseason this year, really a few Lakers fans definitely turned on Rui Hachimura in terms of who he is as a basketball player. I would love to get him in return in a trade for Bruce Brown. Again, he has that size to where he'd be more of a positional fit for this Raptors team and just kind of makes sense as an asset that would come back in a Bruce Brown deal. But other guys, more realistically, if we're going to get a draft pick on top of it, would probably be a Gabe Vincent, who himself didn't really have the most outstanding year last year. I don't think I have his stats pulled up. I do not. But basically, he shot for the first chunk, dealt with some injuries as well, but for a chunk of that season, was shooting like 10%, 11% from behind the three-point line. Again, we know he's a better player than that from his years in Miami, but an injury-riddled season last year led to some really poor percentages, and the same like Kendrick Nunn was a bad taste in Lakers fans' mouth. Gabe Vincent was that kind of guy for the LA Lakers last year. But that's in terms of salary coming back. I don't think they'd give up the Vandalorian in terms of his defensive prowess, the importance he is to that team. Jalen Hood-Schifino, there was talks about them willing to give him up, but maybe Hood-Schifino and Rui Hachimura rather than a pick, they'd be more interested in doing. You're not getting Dalton Knecht, who is their big prospect. But other than that, there's not many salary fillers that make a ton of sense for the Toronto Raptors in a Bruce Brown trade. So if a deal does go down, the LA Lakers expect a Rui Hachimura deal in return or a multi-team deal. But they have some picks. They have some interesting pieces for a deal to actually happen. Now it's on Masai Ujiri to kind of complete that deal to get stuff rolling. Because frankly, the Toronto Raptors need one of these trades to happen. We don't have any more roster spots after picking up Bruce Brown's option, after making the trade for Zasha Vaznevkov, Davion Mitchell, drafting a bunch of guys in the second round of the season. We still don't know the specifics as to some of the contracts out there for this Raptors group. Mogbo's came out today, but basically they have no open really roster spots to bring in free agents, to bring back Trent Jr. Still in the dark in terms of updates on him. So making a trade gives Masai Ujiri that flexibility that he's so craving, as so talked about in recent seasons. So I'd imagine that they're working hard on the phones to try to make a deal happen that makes sense for this Toronto Raptors group. But that's not the only kind of move that could become, as moves have been made for Team Canada, and obviously the Olympics just around the corner, right? We have a pretty wild Team Canada update here now at this point, as basically the Team Canada roster training camp, it's ongoing right now, and there's a big pool of players. Team Canada already didn't invite two long-time kind of Team Canada players in Tristan Thompson as well as Corey Joseph. That surprised a lot of people, but they have a pretty competitive core group, but the forward position is pretty lacking, especially with Andrew Wiggins being unavailable to play based off the Golden State Warriors not allowing him to suit up for Team Canada. I have my conspiracy theories there. I already went on a tirade on that about a week ago, so discuss that. Zach Edey, unavailable to play based off his commitments to the Memphis Grizzlies, but those are two NBA level guys that aren't available in the front line. I did get some tidbit, not sure how guaranteed or sure it is, but that Zach Edey was getting cut anyways, and he knew that, so he just used the Memphis Grizzlies thing as an excuse. Not sure if that's 100% real, 100% true, but that's just something that I've heard, through the grapevines and stuff. My minor, and don't treat that as actual inside influence. But basically, we do have an update regarding Team Canada, as Oshae Brissett, Kyle Alexander, and Leonard Miller are all no longer in camp for Team Canada men's national team. So essentially, that means they're not going to be in the Olympics, so they're not there for this handball team. Now, obviously, Kyle Alexander, Leonard Miller, interesting pieces, interesting players, but the big name on this list is obviously the former Toronto Raptor, Oshae Brissett, who is a very strong defender, can knock down threes, can do a lot of things out there on the basketball court. So with 14 Canada, especially on the national stage. So the fact that he's not available for this Team Canada squad is a bit concerning to me, because again, we have amazing guard talent. We have Shea, we have Jamal Murray, we have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we have RJ Barrett, we have Lou Dort. We have a lot of guys that can play that guard position. Even Dylan Brooks is more of a guard than a big man spot, but having our power forwards and center depth be depleted now, you're really only Kelly Olynyk out there, Dwight Powell, different pieces in there in the roster group. But the fact Oshae Brissett is not that insurance sort of big man that I was expecting him to be, for this Team Canada roster is a bit surprising to me. There are rumors that he's dealing with an injury. He's also trying to get back in the NBA himself. He declined his player option for the Boston Celtics this season. So that was an interesting move. We'll see if he gets picked up by another team, but not going to play for Team Canada this offseason. This could be him hedging his bets, trying to get back in the NBA, because obviously, his bread is buttered in the NBA in terms of having contracts and stuff, so he gets hurt in these training camp spots. He's hurting his career being a free agent right now. But let me know what you guys think about these decisions for Team Canada. It's not official whether it's cut, but Michael Grange essentially said that he's no longer with the team. So I'd imagine if he was in camp and left, there are external reasons as to why he may have just decided to leave on his own, but signs point to him likely being cut in terms of what's going on. But let me know what you guys think about all of this Team Canada Toronto Raptors news. You guys best thing as far as subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I'm signing out. Cheers.